I like genuine responses.
Talking to weird shit now, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, sometimes. All right, so we are live, so you guys know. So don't drop any gamer words or anything else that may come up, and then I'll post all these links. Tweet, post. All right, and wait for chat to get in, and then we'll move on with the topics. I believe Roy is muted right now.
Yep.
So, okay, just double checking. A lot of folks will mute themselves and not know it, so I always feel I need to double check. Like, do you know you're muted? Like, yeah. Add everyone. You guys will get a ping. Let's ignore that. That's for everyone on the server. All right. All right. But yeah. So welcome to the Downrange Podcast. What we do here is that I pull in people from all over, whether it's content creators or chatters or anywhere else, and we discuss certain topics. Now, with you guys both do a more or less a kind of cultural merch sale in a way, where you guys sell items to particular parties and all that fun stuff. And you two, while going towards the same kind of group, are expansively different from what you all sell, which I find fascinating. So I figured I'd drag you guys in here for a chat and we'll discuss some things, like how it all started and everything else.
Yeah. For me, I started with authentic stuff, like going with gun-related stuff and trying to build up the retail business, and that took like 10 years. And in the beginning, you know, I was like very... I kind of hid the weeby and nerdy part, but the culture shifted. The culture shifted like crazy. I would say about 2016 is when I realized that, hey, shit, the weebs have won the culture war. Like every now and then, some like fucking redneck loser will be like, "Ew, cartoons." And be like, get with the times, bitch. It's like for every like anti-anime fucking loser there is out there, there's like way more people who are into that type of stuff. And I think Netflix and late GWOT basically did it. Because, you know, the beginning of GWOT, it's like, oh, like fucking everyone goes with a deployment hard drive. Everyone faps to like their old ladies or whatever.
I mean, yeah,
but, you know, towards the end of fucking GWOT, it's like the most remote bases would have high-speed internet. So I'd be having like, you know, task force whatever dudes like, yo, you got to check out this new Netflix thing. And of course, you run out of things to watch when you're on deployment for however long. And Netflix pivoting hardcore into anime as their content strategy, that definitely affected the military psyche, I think.
Yeah.
So I definitely think the shared hard drives definitely caused a huge burst of like interest in that shit. I am almost solely responsible for the proliferation of Sword Art Online in the Middle East.
Oh
at least in 2013.
You guys probably got better anime out there? Is that that one? All right.
But when it was airing, it was good. All the fucking weird people surrounding it weren't there yet.
No, weren't there yet. So we'll start out with where it all began. So we'll start with Sour first. Sour, me and you are old /K boys, but where did it all begin for you? Because basically everyone finds their way on the 4chan eventually. It's like basically like the old game trail you're running on an accident. But what made you start saying, you know what, I want to sell patches or I want to sell shirts? Like, what made you say, I want to be a figurehead for the sale of merch? What made you go that direction?
Shit, I fucking used to follow Weapons Grade Waifus way back in the day when they were like brand new. And that was probably the first, I mean, I was like closeted anime fan. I drew on my fucking Rent and Reigns and in the field and shit and hid it from people because it was like, back in the day it was weird. But like they came out with that first fucking patch, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's fucking cool, dude. You can put on your shit, and it's like, dude, that's fucking awesome. It's a tactical anime girl. So I kind of fell into that niche, and after a few years, I ended up being one of their fucking artists, right?
Yeah.
And drawing all this patch ideas they gave me, like, here, we want this done. I got my own ideas, and it's like, fuck, I can do this and this, but I can't really pitch it to these guys because it's like they have their own shit. And next thing you know, there's a whole issue if you give them an idea and they want to take it on or whatever, and then like there's a potential for like lawsuits down the fucking line if you don't get paid for it or some bullshit.
Yeah.
So I started doing my own shit on the side. Was still working for them. And I looked into it when the 4chan patch threads and whatnot. I've always kind of been on K a little bit, but the patch threads really what kind of gave me some more direction. Watching everyone like Neat and fucking everyone else.
Well, me and you, we're old K technically. We were there when the magic was written, more or less. So the patch thread was where you found these patches. And so you got into it because you thought it was cool, you want to be like in on the gig pretty much.
Well, yeah, I guess I just really like drawing tactical girls, I guess, because with Weapon Grade Waifu putting the patch out there, and plus I've always kind of followed that. I was friends with ND 2500, Jarv back in the day, a couple other dudes, Jano, Panzer Fire, dudes who were like some of the OP fucking like American like tactical girl artists on like fucking DeviantArt back when that was a thing. Quite a few others, but like we always drew and shit, and eventually I wanted to do my own patches. Plus, seeing all the time on K, you had fucking what the fuck was it? There was that one fucking anime girl, like Milsurp Chan or whatever, that was always posted fucking everywhere.
That was Operator Chan, I believe.
Operator Chan, that's it. So shit like that. It was kind of its own niche because it still wasn't a big thing.
And then for Weapon Outfitters, you started out legit. You sold regular, normal gear, didn't you?
Yeah, just everything non-FFL for like 10 years before we finally jumped in feet first with the FFL SOT.
Yeah,
I was on like 4chan back in like 2008, the early days where you could see memes get born.
Well,
you would
you don't feel as old until you go back and go, man, I was there when that shit like fucking when your Jimmies were rustled and shit. Like that was all made only like 10, 15 years ago, and it's weird seeing the site evolve. But so you weren't
too fast. You can't see the memes get born anymore. The memes are born elsewhere. I feel like 4chan's kind of become like a major psyop, fucking battleground. This is where all the glowies go and the true schizo posters.
Like, hello, I also like anime girls. Who else wants to go fight the government? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's. I think I kind of turned away when it all became the trip fags. I mean, I don't know if you're allowed to say that, but trip people back in like early 2010s.
Yeah,
that was like, man, now it's no longer anonymous. We don't have like legitimate people sprinkled in with the high school airsoft nerds, because every now and then like some guy would come, hey, I'm actually a SEAL, bitch. Let me talk to you about stuff, and then they would drop like inside hints and shit, and then people would find each other. It happens on Twitter now too, where behind the anime PFPs, you have no idea who you're talking to. It might be like an officer in the military, which has happened to me a few times, which is really disconcerting because it's like the dude's like a high-ranking dude, and he's got a Twitter with an anime profile, 60 followers, and then all his followers, they're also legit people with their burner accounts.
Yeah,
it's pretty funny.
So you were old K then? Basically, I think me, you, and Sour are all night K, more or less. We're not daycare. So like Sour did patches first and did art. What was your first thing you sold in on the main scale of this culture we all belong to? Was it like magazines or bolt carriers or what?
Probably going all the way back to 2010. Shit. Oh my god. Probably rails. Rails and slings. It was just practical stuff from usage, because like remember in Magpul Dynamics when that was hot shit? Yeah, I was one of those fucking dummies who went to those 2,000 round weekend shoot into a berm entertainment is what Larry Vickers called it in a derogatory way, and he was right because it was fucking really entertaining, really fun, and ammo, it was cheap. It was like right after the assault weapons ban had sunset. So like everyone just going nuts. Back then you could get like an HK 416 for like $2,000.
Don't remind me.
That same shit's like 10 grand now.
Yeah, like I passed up on so many fucking Yugo SKSs that makes my stomach churn. Back from like, I don't need this, right? I can get it later. And I'm like, fuck, like $2,000 now.
Back then it was a piece of shit. Now it's like, the AKs used to be cheap junk, like Wassers, like $400. Now it's like $800, and fuck you, the front sight's canted.
So you started out doing, so you started out doing legit sales. When did you start getting a bit memey with it? Because I've watched you for a while now, and I always thought it was curious how you started out legitimate, and then you got your, it's kind of funny. Like I was telling you guys before we started, Sour has mostly anime girls as his thing. You have real girls as your thing. And it always kind of like made me laugh about how the two clashed, but still intermingle in the same headspace. So when did you start? So when did you on your site start leaning into the whole like memology of of the evolving culture?
I would say the anime stuff didn't come until 2018. No, yeah, 2018 when like Paige came around. Pageosity, she's Matt Best's cousin, and then she draws anime stuff all the time. And then she started dating my vice president, and I was like, oh god, you guys can't fuck this up. I need this bitch to draw real nice anime stuff for me.
The weebs are breeding.
That's always my war. Yeah, I need you to like not break up or anything. But you know, they're still going strong. So
they should not break up for my business. Don't break up, please.
Yeah. I would say the model stuff started in 2011. Really? Yeah, I think when I started the company, 2010, I wanted to do it, and it took me 4 years to stop sucking at it. If you go onto my Facebook, you can see all my old photos, and they're terrible. From like 2010 to 2014, it's like a black hole of god awful cringe, because I didn't know how to take photos yet.
Cringe.
You know, it took like 4 years for me to learn how to like become decent as a photographer. Then I got consulting from an actual fashion photographer, and then he like, you know, fucking shot me forward in terms of capability. In 2014, I would say, is when the photos of models were actually beautiful, technically competent, fucking composition wise competent. And, you know, it's just been improving ever since. I remember the first nude model I shot with, I was like, here, wear like all these guys' armor that I have. It looks so freaking dumb. And I see other guys trying to follow in this same type of stuff, and they make the same mistake. Because what fits girls is very different from what fits dudes.
Shocking.
You gotta invest in it, you know? So like Cry finally coming out with like Gen 4 women's cries, like, oh my god, makes life so much easier. But then do you have the money to drop, you know, like a few grand to outfit a fire team of models? Depends. Yeah, I would say my Patreon, like, it brings in money, but I immediately spend it on like stuff to stay legitimate and make beautiful stuff.
I don't know why, but the phrase fire team of models just tickles me in the no end. How about you, Sour?
No, I'm liking it. Never thought of it like that.
So
yeah.
So
4 girls, all good gear, you know, that's like a few grand. Like, you can buy a car with that. But hey, I need it to make art.
Okay, so that's kind of fun, because so we're all part of the exact same shoot in terms of entertainment. We all came off of K, which I didn't know that about you. Roy, there you go. So like, I didn't know that about you, that you were part. I thought you came into the whole sphere later on. I didn't realize you were part of the founding.
No, unlike some people on the internet, I don't try to like court K. You know, it's too much power, because like K is like legitimate, it's anonymous, right? So I feel like people who try to court K for commercial purposes is very dangerous, because it could easily backfire. Like, if they. That happened with me at Tumblr, because I remember I jumped onto Gunblr on Tumblr. I was like, hey, here's a discount code for Gunblr. Let's see how much you guys are worth commercially. And they did not like that at all. It took me a while to realize that Gunblr was actually a bunch of super homoerotic dudes goofing off, you know? Like, it was like they had their own culture already. They weren't like a commercial entity or a commercial block, you know? So the only way to appeal to them is just to be legitimate and also pretend they don't exist. Which eventually is what happened with Gunblr, and you know, for that same reason, I never really go on to 4chan. But hey, it's me, Roy from Weapon Outfitters. How you guys doing, bro?
Well,
that's just like an inviting trouble.
Saying we all know how much they fucking light you up on purpose, because like K has evolved past us. I think it's this whole new entity, which I don't really like what K is nowadays. I think we need a whole new K, like it's kind of like separate, because like the current K is just mostly Pol Plus. I mean, that's really all it seems like.
Oh no.
But we'll go back before we all started selling things. How did you? We'll go with Sour first. How did you start dipping your toes into the anime scene, where it started infecting your brain and slowly assimilating you towards, like, you know, the great anime fold?
Fuck, I remember growing up as a kid watching things like Trigun and shit, and like Yu Yu Hakusho on late night, but I never really associated it as anime. I hated like the anime community because back in like the early thousands, it was fucking weird, right? I remember when the fucking phrase "squeeboo" was fucking coined. There's a bunch of weird fuckers running around with like the cat ears and shit, like just weird culture. But eventually, I got into it in the military. My buddy had me watch fucking Ouran High School Host Club, and I watched fucking Kiss X6 on fucking Netflix, and I'm like, okay, this isn't so bad.
I mean, why is it? What? See, I'm the exact same way in the army. The army affected me fully. Roy, how about you? Like how did you get into the whole sphere of anime?
Oh, I think what was it? My parents, they were in Jersey until like '94, so half my childhood I spent over in Asia. And over in Asia, like anime is just normal. It's just regular entertainment. It's not like, oh, just for kids, kind of like that mentality they have with boomers over here. And I remember watching Robotech, and that shit like taught me about real adult concepts. Because like in American cartoons, no one ever dies or gets hurt. Mm-hmm. And Robotech's like about war, and people actually die for real. I was like, whoa, that's fucked up.
That's fucked up. I love it.
So I started watching, I think it was on an Australian TV channel, because, I didn't know Mandarin that well at the time. Mm-hmm. And I think it was Star TV, owned by Rupert Murdoch, playing Robotech in 3-month cycles that got me into it. And then I started learning Mandarin so I could read the translated mangas and understand the animes and stuff. And, Taiwan and Japan are pretty close geographically and culturally, so it's like the anime scene in Taiwan's super strong, the airsoft scene in Taiwan's super strong, because I remember I was there in the 90s, back when Japan was still like the center of the airsoft world. But because of Taiwan's strength in manufacturing and engineering, it's shifted now. Like the Japanese go over to Taiwan to like beg for manufacturing engineering capacity. Like the airsoft universe is now centered in Taiwan, basically.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I mean, I haven't played airsoft in like 20 years, but seeing the costs drive down and then the accessibility go up, been pretty neat. Yeah, I probably should get back into it, but I don't have the time.
Well, yeah,
I don't even play video games anymore. It's terrible. I used to be a video game addict. I used to play 12 hours a day. Now it's like, I gotta do taxes. Oh shit.
Yeah.
I gotta edit photos. I gotta like do real adult shit.
We'll put a pin in that because that's something we're gonna talk about, like the loss of free time. Because more or less, it's not like tooting our own horns, but there are those who want to consume and those who create. But we'll get to that here in a minute. So, Roy, you haven't. So you have not served. I've had to ask that.
Oh, yeah, I have not served. Okay. I think 2008, 2010, that time frame. Mm-hmm. That was when I was trying to get in, and I broke my foot, and I became a sick call ranger, so to speak.
Got you.
Yeah, well, so I'm gonna get my bone fusion fucking probably this year before I have kids. It's still giving me trouble like 10 years later.
Well, feet are, because you can't stay off your feet. You're always on your feet one way or another. But me and Sour, we both served, and he said it, and I literally followed the exact same track. It seems like the military is a vector for anime, and I cannot figure out why it is. Now, you said you got your start, overseas. I got my start on fucking staff duty, where like you have you awake for 24 hours, and it's like fuck, because you burn through movies fast, and you realize I need something that's gonna keep me awake. And anime titties keep you awake pretty goddamn well, so I would just watch anime for 24 hours. And then you start noticing things, right? Like my favorite story, one of my favorite stories is a chief that had a Strike Witch keychain on his flight suit. So he'd be flying around in a helicopter with his little keychain out, and I was like, this is just fucking insane. And I don't know what it is about anime, but or in the military, but it has exploded. Like you can find anime waifus inside tank panels and like like World War II would be like like a female pinup. Nowadays it's like someone got like Maori on their fucking gunner station or some shit, and it's
a whole fucking camera full of just me in Afghan last year, man. Our entire fucking post, like every bunker had anime stickers in it, faded from the sun, new ones. I don't know where they came from, dude, but for years I had them like people were drawing them in Sharpie, dude, like on fucking graffiti on the wooden walls in our barracks, the dividers. They had been there before we got there. It's everywhere.
Yeah, I talk about this all the time, but was it the proliferation through Netflix is probably a huge opening of the funnel. But prior to that, like you were saying, the supply of entertainment outstripped the demand. There's only so much Hollywood shit you can watch, whereas like anime just has unlimited creativity because it's a drawn medium.
Yeah.
And also Japanese people are crazy.
Well, that
Yeah,
well, that and the genres encompass all kinds of shit. Like,
Yeah.
we don't talk about the forbidden genre that has 3 letters, but literally there's always something different. You could watch a food one, you could watch an isekai, then a fantasy one, then there's always something you can go and watch. And so you guys say Netflix. I thought Crunchyroll was the fucking biggest like pusher of anime because like
Free, yeah.
you sign up for like $5, you can just like I had a Crunchyroll on a quick dash on my laptop. I go click and it would pull up all my shit. And
Yeah,
that would get the believers, but it wouldn't get the non-believers. The non-believers probably stumbled in all through One Punch Man.
Yeah,
One
everyone had
Punch Man
Netflix.
is like the military anime for some reason.
go ahead,
Dude,
Sour.
Dragon Ball Z, man. No,
yeah.
I would say Netflix, man, because everyone had a Netflix when it came out. Crunchyroll is like a secondary thing. That and hard drives. On deployment, everyone has a hard drive. Everyone's like getting shit off everyone else's hard drive. It's like, what do you have? You have 4 movies and like 6 animes? Sure, I'll download them. Or you watch it.
Yeah, 'cause-
Everyone's sitting on fucking floating off the coast of fucking Africa, man, watching fucking Black Bible with fucking like 14 of their dudes because someone just had it on their hard drive and it was fun to watch.
Man, so
Oh no.
I swear to God, you make it sound like enemies like a venereal disease. You pass it off to your buddy on accident. Like, oh yeah, I got an anime. Like, I can't stop consuming anime. And it's just the funniest damn thing. And then, of course, there was the militarization of anime. So we all belong to a completely separate sect, if you want to call it that, where we are military anime or military anime enthusiasts. And we are seen as absolute weirdos compared to the rest of the anime community, but we are the most, I think, in my opinion, most Chad community, because it's us and the fit weebs, and we both kind of slide side to side, because
There's the car weebs too. The
yeah, car
and
weebs, yeah.
motorcycle weebs. Yeah.
But I think the 2 biggest I've seen so far are the fit weebs and the gun weebs. Because, like, Barbells and Milkers, they sell a lot of fucking merch to bodybuilders who just like anime. And same goes for gun stuff. Like, I think the main thing with guns are the stickers and the patches, while with the Fit Boys, it's the stickers for their shaker cups and then, gym tees. Speaking of gym tees, Roy, why is there not a men's tank top for Sailor Goon? Come on, bro. That's rude. Come on, man.
Oh, that used to exist. I probably didn't make it in the migration. We have a new website, so with a new website, I'm beginning to discover that media stuff. That's where I actually make money. Like
Media
freaking, you
stuff?
can't make, like posters, stickers.
Yeah, got you.
Yeah,
Well-
so I'm definitely doubling down on art. I would say.
Saying you say
Like,
that,
the
but
retail sucks.
So you say that, but Sour, that's been his gig for what, a decade now? Sour, you've been doing patches and stickers and shit.
Since 2017, I'd say 2016 actually.
2016, because I remember Sour was one of the quote unquote big boys of /K patch threads. There was Sauerkraut and there was Wood and there was others, but you like I go to Nugget Fest and say, hey, who name 5 patch guys, and Sour's names always comes up. Because Sour's always made,
Made me blush.
but Sour's always been making that, like the textile stuff. Like, you can try and make your big bucks on t-shirts or, magazines, but it's those fucking stupid stickers that'll fly off your fucking shelf. And that's been Sour's gig since, like I said, 2017.
I always thought about, like, you can wear a fucking a shirt, but most people are kind of like, it's iffy. Something subtle or small. It's like a pinup girl in a bomber versus a fucking livery. It's something nice and subtle you can just put somewhere. So that's why I like patches. I don't even really turn a huge profit on them. I try to keep my patches just slightly above what retail is or what the manufacturing cost is, enough to make another batch or whatever. But like these dudes out here charging like $11 and shit. I think it's a bit too much. Kind of keeps
That's
you
too
at the
much.
market.
Yeah.
Well, those guys are preying upon those who want like these patches, and
Yeah, well, a lot of them fail. I don't know if you guys ever saw that shit, but like there was a time when we started up and like I started just because I wanted to do it just for fun. It was like one of those things. Like I'll make one for myself, and like it's cheaper to sell a bunch of them. But like then there's like dudes popping up left and right with the weirdest art. They draw something for like pay some guy $5 for it, make a patch out of it, and they just go broke doing it.
That was Upgrades waifu for a while. I remember they had their Rim Ram patch that made me giggle when I saw it because they had like long ass necks and shit.
Yeah, that artist that was like that was the early days, and that guy was. It was hit and miss. And then again, at the same time, there was an era where like the designs came out, and like everyone was so thirsty for designs, people would just like immediately just like suck them off. Like, it's fucking great. It looks amazing. I can't wait to buy one. And of course they'd buy it, and like it looks kind of like trash. I mean, they've definitely progressed past that, but the Rem Ram patch was like really fucking weird looking.
Well, it's one of those things where like you and Roy, you guys were at the beginning of it, and you kind of cruised on the waves and got out in the middle of the ocean. Because from what I've noticed, Sour and Roy, both of you have had quite high quality control for what you produce. Same with like Crimson Caravan and Badger Hound. You guys, and I guess Neat, but you guys had pretty high quality control. And there were guys who were pumping out cheap patches, but they looked like absolute dog shit, and like no one would buy them, and they would go under. And like I was good, like I was starting to do patches until I realized, like I couldn't really compete with what you guys were doing, so I kind of drew back a bit. But like how do you guys feel knowing that you are, like both of you, both Roy and Sour, pushing forward the culture? Because when you think about it in an abstract kind of way, you guys are the new vector. You guys are pushing this culture forward, exposing it to new consumers. That when you think about it, like the car weebs, the fit weebs, the gun weebs, we are like a subculture of a main culture, the car culture, the gun culture. But because of how you guys are, you're kind of exposing yourselves in a monetary way, not in a physical way, to these new cultures. How do you guys feel about knowing that you guys are kind of, outgrowing the community? And we'll start with Sour first.
I don't really know what you mean by outgrowing the community, to be honest. I would say I've honestly stagnated a bit, just given my contracting stuff, me being overseas. I haven't had the time to sit down and draw anything new in quite a while. That shirt was the last thing. But I don't know, it's nice to see these things. I see more stickers on trucks, whether I did them for another store or not, or like my own stuff. Mm-hmm. You see them like patches on gear and whatnot at fucking ranges. It's nice that people get introduced to that kind of stuff. I just like I love it. I do it for my own passion. I like to see people enjoying my stuff. I'm not really doing it for the monetary gain, but if my stuff can get out there and people can can bring more people into the tactical stuff.
Well, not monetary gain. I'm more like I'm trying to probe your mind on how you feel knowing that you are. I'm trying to find the right way to phrase it, but you are one of the, shall I say, one of the leading forces on pushing and expanding the culture. Like, do you see yourself?
Leader, you mean?
Yeah, sure. Like, do you see it as like a bad thing, or do you find it kind of weird that you're here now? Like, how do you feel about knowing that you are a known name in terms of this culture we all kind of sit in?
I would say honestly, it's weird being a known name. To be honest, I wasn't really aware of that. I thought I was just some dude doing patches on the side, and every now and then you see a doodle from me. But
well, no,
man.
Know
that I'm a known name.
Well, you say that, but weird. Like people, like you go on Cliché, like, hey, do you know what Sauerkraut is? Like people go, oh yeah, I know Sauerkraut. They pull off one of your patches and show it to me. Like you are, for lack of a better term, this Sauerkraut. I mean, you haven't noticed the 8,000 followers you have?
I've noticed that, but it's Twitter. I don't know how many of those are porn bots or feds, but it's like
both.
It's pretty both. Yeah, pretty much. It's K. But I don't know. It's pretty cool hearing that, or just knowing that I'm a known name. Like I have met a few people that I've seen my artwork and whatnot, and kind of it's only been like 3 or 4 people that have been like, hey, I'm the one who drew that. And it's like, oh, you're that asshole. So it's a cool feeling, knowing that some people actually like my work in reality and meeting them. I don't know what kind of force I am in terms of driving it, but it's cool that I can get it out there. Because I think at one point in time, back in the day, like the tactical grill community wasn't a big thing. It's kind of like back in how you didn't really have this tac bro shit going on. I think those two communities collided and kind of fucking exploded, and one helped the other.
Well, I would definitely say we were definitely niche, like in terms of what we were on K. We were a very small corner of that, and I think the military helped expand it out. But like,
definitely.
But like with Roy, I mean, Roy, you sell Nakomi headset covers on your site, for God's sakes. Like, how do you feel knowing that you are the term perpetuating is not the right word, but like you are kind of helping build and keep up this odd little community that we're all part of.
Oh, it's fun. I would say for me, it was a little bit surprising with the Nekomimi headset covers because, you know, like the Airsoft magazine editors, they follow me. And I'm always like bugging them, like, come on, let me do a fucking cover shoot or whatever. And what was it? It's when you try to pose models with guns, you kind of run out of ideas at times. Like it definitely comes and goes. And looking at some of my competitors, I definitely feel like you can only do so much with limited creativity. So then for me, like anime being an endless well of creativity, you can always draw from it. So the Nekomimi stuff, I was like, I just need something to put on hot chicks, man. I think I did it with Amy Wilder first. Amy Wilder, she was like a big time blonde steampunk model. She had like posed for a comic book artist, the famous comic book artist named Armando Huerta, who killed himself like last year. So his art's like getting more and more popular. In death, crazy, right? But yeah, I think she was like the cover of Hustler for their like 40th anniversary issue. But yeah, putting her in like latex and Nekomimi ears was perfect. And it's fun. It's for me, you know. Like if I like it, I'm gonna make it, and it's really great that people support me and think it's cool too.
Thing it is quite interesting how with like Sour, he could just draw an anime girl and send it off. You're working up a whole different aspect of this culture where you're doing live photo shoots and all this gear. You're selling lowers now. You're selling hand stops, rails, sights. You sell entire weapons too. I've noticed you have a few rifles on there, or quote unquote pistols. But like, how do you balance out the two crowds you cater to, and do you feel pulled towards one more than the other?
Yeah, like when I had like a Hollywood celebrity buy from me, that didn't really bug me or raise my heartbeat at all. But like when I had a commander of a F-35 squadron buy upper from me, I was like, oh shit, like I better stand at attention and salute, sir. Yeah. So like whenever I find out I have like legitimate customers, like, oh shit, gotta, you know, tighten up. And,
legitimate customers. Movie stars, bleh, whatever.
Yeah, fuck you, Hollywood nerd. And then like but then I realized, oh, these people, they came to me for me being me. So it's like I can only like tighten up for like about 2 tweets, which is about 30 seconds before I go back to being my normal self. The main thing I figured out was I'm just gonna separate the sexy stuff from the family-friendly stuff, because I think the right wing is becoming a bit more Puritan. So I feel like my Christian friends, they're like, oh yeah, we're down with your like nerdy stuff, but you know, please no, nothing too scandalous on the main pages. Please no, like super. Please don't no covering up boobs with a gun. You know.
oh, like your models. Gotcha.
Yeah. So that goes on the After Dark now.
Right.
It's its own separate brand, pretty much.
Oh, After Dark. That's what you call it. Okay. So, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, was that I watched the Playboy docudrama on Amazon, and I realized I picked up the After Dark thing from Hugh Hefner, because in 1960 whatever, with his first TV show that was on like CBC, it was one of the main networks. He had Playboy After Dark, and it was like a variety show.
Huh.
So that is how that term entered the lexicon. I didn't even know that. You know, it just was floating around in the ether. And it's like, yeah, Weapon Outfitters After Dark will be my secret Tumblr where I have sexy girls with guns.
So you have so you actually split yourself. You have your main face page and then like your fun naughty page then, in a way.
Yep, exactly.
Huh. So how
it's the same models, because you know, taking a nude girl and putting a ton of gear and clothes on her, you know, that takes some time, but you just the fully kitted out stuff on one side, and then the sexy stuff where people know to find me. And it's interesting that the After Dark even though it's more scandalous by my value system, like Instagram and Facebook treat me like a rock star with like the sexy chick stuff.
No shit.
Whereas like the chased gun stuff, it's like, fuck you, you degenerate. Shut up, man.
You degenerate.
Like, fuck you. It's like, and it's interesting because I'm looking at my Instagram, like on Weapon Outfitters. It's like all the reels is just hot chick, shaking her booty, bikini shot. You know, like I definitely, I am not anti aesthetic or beautiful or female form in any way, but I can understand why it's such a common thing now, especially with young men. It's like we're sick of being manipulated, you know? Like I don't like it even. I don't like having my Instagram just constantly dumping hoes on me. So that's why I'm trying to like go for an art aspect with what I do. And some people don't think it's artsy at all, and that's their interpretation. You know, they can be fucking stupid. I don't care.
I'm just curious, how hard are you going to push the anime aspect of the culture? Because you're kind of dipping your toe a bit with a few things, but you plan on going further? You're going to lean into it harder? Because me and Sour, that's what we do. we are the anime bit, but you're a bit more larger and a bit more prolific, and you use actual 2D waifus. So, but how hard are you going to push into the anime aspect of it? Because you have your
Girls Frontline has made it so easy. Thank you, Girls Frontline. Like the HK416, I thought it was a piece of shit, but then I managed to get one for like the trade-in, and I was like, I guess I'll do freaking anime cosplay with it. And then a former Delta Force pal, he's like, I'm going to get my antenna-dized. So I kind of jumped into that. So with my HK416s, it's like, I'm going the freaking super gun nerd, super commando LARPing side. And then I'm also going the fucking anime HK416s, the #1 waifu in Girls Frontline side too.
Well, what I was asking is that on your website and your main store brand, like how hard or how lightly are you gonna kind of lean into the anime aspect? Because you have your shirts and you have your cat ear for the headphones. You're gonna keep it as is, lean more towards 3D, lean more towards 2D. You're gonna try and like have a healthy balance. What do you plan on doing in the future? Because here in a bit, I mean,
it's probably cosplay for me.
Cosplay, I can see cosplay doing well. Yeah,
commissioning takes a lot more communication and back and forth and time. And then I've commissioned a ton of stuff that I haven't released yet, because I haven't had the time to like really plan, like, what am I going to do with all this art that I've had made from me, you know? I got one from Sour that hasn't been released yet. Got one from yeah, you did one for me, I think. And I think I got one from November, Romeo. He's a prolific, actually, yes. You know how small the world is? I actually ran into his roommate at his college, because his college here in the Pacific Northwest had an anime con, and he handed out like this one photo of like a anime tactical girl. I was like, I need to follow this guy.
So you're gonna lean on more of the you're gonna try and combine the two, then have both, you know, female models doing cosplay with weapons. Then you're gonna find a healthy medium. Okay.
Yeah, otherwise I have to learn Procreate and start drawing my own stuff. And honestly, I'm kind of, if I had more time, because right now I have to learn how to do video. I have to learn how to like get my e-commerce more efficient. Like, there's just no way. But if I had all the time in the world, I'd love to go down the drawing tech path.
Yeah,
I invested all on photography, so it's kind of too late. It took like 5 years to not suck at photography for me.
Once you go down the drawing rabbit hole, you cannot get out, bro. Like, once it has you. So be careful with that.
Yeah, I'll do that when I'm retired and like 60 years old or something. Like I'd finally start drawing all the pervy stuff. It'd be great.
Just in a retirement home, just drawing smut.
Yeah,
that's what I do now. So you two, because I know my feelings on it, but like you two have watched this culture evolve, and from that point till now and onwards, what do you two see it doing? Like, how do y'all see it progressing? Because right now, anime is going more mainstream, and you could say that our culture is kind of exploding, because it's now, like how you said earlier, a a lot less glareable. Like, it's more like, oh, okay, he likes anime, sure. It's a lot more accepted. How do you two see it growing? Or do y'all say getting worse, getting bad? Or do you see it evolving in a different way? How do you two see that going as time goes on?
This reminds me of talking with my like fucking hipster friends. Like, what is art? You know, that's how it always devolves to.
That's not what I'm
And
doing.
I remember, but no. But I remember at the time I was like, oh, like just because a band is indie or the music's indie doesn't mean it's better. Like, it could be pop music and also good. That was the dumbest, most intellectually dishonest thing I've ever said. Because by its very nature, when it's popular, when it has to have the biggest common denominator, you have to dial it down. So it's like Gate, the manga, is fucking amazing. It's got like fucking ultra violence and sex, and it's so great. And then the anime, they gotta like dial it down to like PG-13, PG.
See,
and by the time they make a Netflix adaptation, oh god, it's gonna suck.
A better example would be actually Goblin Slayer than Gate. Like, Gate had had a bit of violence. Goblin Slayer, that was one you saw get neutered real fucking quick. How it was.
Well, just the public outcry of Goblin Slayer was fucking insane, so they had to like reel back on that.
And it still triggered them. It still triggered the fuck out of them in episode 1.
Yeah, that's a whole fucking other argument.
Well, folks, like us, we don't mind that. We can kind of chew through that. Most common folks can't really chew through extreme mega violence on the very first episode. We're like, huh, cool. Cute girls doing cute things, LOL. Well, other people are like, what the fuck is this? And they're losing their shit. Which I can kind of sort of understand. Like, I mean, they're weak, but, you know, I can understand it. But yeah, so do you guys see more gun folk getting into the whole anime aspect? Or see more... Because for the most part, I mean, let's be real here, most anime fans were hardcore, or at least very liberal. And now as you see more conservative folks getting into the whole hobby, do you guys see anime exploding out as a new common thing? Because, I mean, like, I was out getting horse feed, and this lady on the back of a Harley said, oh my god, I love Megumin, because I have like a Megumin truck sticker. And I was like, what the fuck? You know, you don't think a Harley girl who's riding the back of a big old fucking red Harley would go like, oh my god, I love Megumin. And I was like, fucking what? Like, she was like in her 50s. Like, that's there's no fucking way.
The culture's so weird now. Like, everyone's into it. Like, I wouldn't say it's a bad thing necessarily. I think, if anything, it's expanding more. And I see the growth is just when it comes to more mainstream. Like, you see more stuff like, a lot more people getting kind of low-end stuff. You see Zero Two with his ass out and a fucking, like, a Cry helmet or something. There's more market out there. You see more people with this, just, they accept it more. I go everywhere in town now and I see anime stickers, peekers on all kinds of cars. It's not as a tuner anymore. It could be like someone's fucking, like, FJ Cruiser. It's expanding more towards. I think it will be a judgment to some degree where certain people it's going to be big enough where you have like people have their own views on it, like, oh, it's going to be sexualized, it's bad, this is a cultural appropriation bullshit. It's going to have it's rough spots going forward, but I think our niche will stay the same as it becomes more mainstream with the gun guys. When we fall into our specific niche that we have already, it's going to be as people are going to want that Zero Two or the Megumin with a fucking grenade launcher or something. It just expands as it goes. Look at how Marp does. Marp does that shit with the with M16 or Megumin with Vietnam backgrounds, and he's getting the history guys that love that shit into it. We have our niche, and I think it's gonna, as it grows, it's gonna grow with it. I don't think it's gonna be a detriment.
So, have you guys seen the sides being drawn up by chance, or are you guys not really looking into it like that far in?
The what?
The sides of what?
The size of this culture, not just like gun, but like anime culture, where it's these kind of things. When I get bored, I'll start like googling shit at like 2 a.m. because I can't sleep, and I've noticed a extreme divide in this new culture. Yeah, well, not just Twitter, but it's like basically. I hate how this sounds. It sounds so fucking stupid when you say it out loud in front of people, but there's been a line drawn in the Ubu Dezu sand of these two sides of anime, and on the one side is, hey, anime is good anime, and the other side is, we must fix the anime. This anime is broken. This anime is appropriating culture, yada yada. And it is so wild to me because we were all there in the early 2000s, mid 90s, watching this thing flourish, this new cartoon from Japan come in, and now only in a short amount of time, there are warring sides of anime. And on one side, we're like, yo, anime, great. You watch what anime you want to. The other side's like, yo, this anime's fucking broken. Why her titty's so big? Yeah. And it's just like, well, how do we get here? And you see, like, especially on Twitter, I'm sure you guys have noticed all the fucking, like, FBI glowy posts. But
ignore it.
I mean, yeah, but but like anime's been used as a weapon almost. And it's the weirdest fucking thing.
Oh, it's the Gamergate shit. Yeah, nobody cares about white liberals from America, least of all the base Japanese. It's like Japan is so fundamentally based in their culture that even a liberal in Japan would hold like some deeply right-wing views for like a SJW.
I would agree. Dude, look at Square Enix. They just released that fucking shit yesterday with that whole manga thing. Mm-hmm. Well, now they're censoring it. Like they're putting censoring like, I haven't seen since like the Middle East. Essentially, when you look at fucking like they painted the fucking hijab on fucking Sandy Cheeks on SpongeBob episodes. It's like that level, but it's not Japan because they're doing this. I mean, Japan's uncensored their app, and fucking our version of it is censored. It's kind of like it's a problem with a small minority being the vocal majority, being loud as shit.
Well, so that's the issue, isn't it? Yeah.
It's always fat, unfuckable losers. Tell them to shut up.
Exactly.
But like
sad people. But yeah, there's gonna be a culture divide.
Well, but it's weird how like it like we don't see it much on our side because we're part of the good side. But you have people trying and command Japan to fix their anime. I'm like, what do you mean fix their anime? It's how it comes, and there's been like it's very subtle. You have to go in and look for it, but there are people already lining up for the gun weebs, and like the fit weebs, the gun weebs, the car weebs. There are people lining up to try and attack those subcultures because they see it as, and not a direct quote, but like just trying to encompass all these posts I've seen as like cis white male, like anti-feminist, yada yada. I'm like, what the fuck? And they're trying to drop these battle plans against that. And it's why, like, I want to bring you two here because we're part of growing this thing, and there are people who are trying to attack this growing culture because they see it as problematic. And it's just the weirdest fucking shit I've ever had to think of in my life. Like, there are folks out there on Twitter who see fit weebs as a problem because they're perpetuating like a pro-male stereotype, and it's just like fucking what?
Perpetuating strength and self-discipline.
And the horror.
All you gotta do is fucking hold up a mirror. Just take a fucking photo. Yeah, okay, who do you want to take life advice from? This disgusting, smelly, fat-ass piece of shit? Or this jacked bro?
Well, the problem with that
come at me, bro. I'm a 6'2" Asian guy. Come at me. I'll fucking
goddamn Yao Ming over
your ass, you know? Like,
sorry, go ahead.
Bring it. Cancel me. I don't give a shit.
You have that same problem with everybody, though. It's people who don't want to have their own. It's just because they like anime, they're putting their own insecurities from life into fucking like that any one of their niches. Like it'll just be some fat bitch that fucking wants to, fucking you're toxic by pushing forward fitness. It's that same thing, but now it's just being transferred to the fact I like anime, but they're doing this. Why is the main character super strong and not obese? Because that wouldn't work out in reality.
So ableist. Well, it's so ableist. Well, write your own fucking manga then.
Nothing's stopping One Punch Man in a wheelchair.
Well, at the exact same time, you have these fit weeb bros like, hey man, we're both in the anime. You can come work out with us, and it's quite fascinating watching one side try and lift up the other weebs on their side. Like it sounds so dumb out loud, but like the fit bros are trying to take the other, their fellow weebs and hey man, you should work out, or hey man, you should, get off that couch, become the man your wife wants you to be. And then on our side, it's like, hey, you guys should know about, having your own arms and being reliant and self-reliant and being accurate. There's a whole other culture that kind of intermingle, and they're basically like there's the enabling side, which we are. We're enabling them to be stronger, more independent, think for themselves, be self-reliant, both male and female members. And then this other side where it's like, no, you don't get it. Like it's like a huge crab bucket thing. And I swear to God, it's only on Twitter. Like I would look for hours, and you would only find this shit on Twitter. And the problem is that Twitter is very loud. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Twitter is not real life. That's the big mistake that corporations and politicians all fall for. So this is why I'm so active on Twitter, because I noticed that legitimate gun people are not on Twitter a lot. They don't like it. They don't like the interface. They don't like the culture. But it's like, if you're in hostile territory, it's kind of like when Chesty Puller got surrounded at Incheon, you know? We're surrounded on 3 sides. Good! Now they can't escape. You know, it's like kind of the same thing with gun Twitter. It's like you will find other people there, even though it's hostile territory.
I feel like Twitter is one of the few social media sites that actually has a large amount of interaction. I feel like Instagram, like you just post something and you let it ride. With Facebook, you post it and no one sees it. Twitter, you post it, everyone gets mad and they love it. And there's actual either debate or screeching in the comments, but there's actual. More people communicate and talk, whether it's fucking good or bad, on Twitter than I feel like any other website.
And this brings up my second topic, or not second, it's like 10. Our next topic, what kind of feelings do y'all have when you see these VTubers helping push the gun community on Twitter? Because it's a big thing. Like not just Rye, who's on here a lot, but there are like these tactical VTubers, right? And a lot of them are female.
Yeah, what queens? What queens?
And they are helping push the gun community on Twitter. And because almost all VTubers use Twitter. It's like their main vector source is Twitter.
You have to. Yeah. YouTube to Twitter is like one single ecosystem, basically.
And then you see, like, I'll scroll through the comments because, again, I can't sleep. It's 4 a.m. Please kill me. I'm scrolling through all these fucking comments. And you see all the time about all these female weebs who are like, man, I got into guns because of you. And all these guys are like, man, I thought guns were bad until I started watching this female tactical VTuber. And like, oh my god, I love guns now. And all the airsoft guys, I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like to me, it's like, what? Because
podcasting. It's like podcasting, right?
I mean,
where long form fucking conversation deprograms you. So the fucking globalist stupid agenda, the neoliberal agenda, it falls apart when people start talking.
Neoliberal agenda.
Very watchless now.
I mean, that's what they call themselves. Like, we have to fight for the neoliberal agenda for Biden, blah, blah, blah.
I can hear the glowworms crawling our way.
Yeah, fuck them. But yeah, that's the silver lining of the war in Russia and war in Ukraine. That agenda is fucking done. Because you can't do it without cheap Russian commodities. With Russia out of the global system, globalization is done. Everyone go listen to Peter's iHand podcasts. Buy his book. That guy's great.
Chat, stop sending me global homo memes in my Discord. Stop it. It's not just like you said that and I got 14 DMs of global homo memes. Like, god damn it, quit it. But I mean, it's fascinating because when we first started out, we were a very small niche. Like, when I would go to the gun range in full weeb gear, I would get stared at. But now, no one gives a fuck. And it's like, I went to the range in a maid outfit, and no one fucking cared. I was like, what the like, I thought I was going to get yelled at. Like, I was actually prepared for a fight. But no one cared. Like, oh, hey, that's pretty funny. And people were talking like, oh, why are you doing that? And I was like, has the coin finally turned? What the fuck happened?
Yeah. And I remember losing an entire shooting competition to a guy dressed as Homura. Haven't done it since, but I still regret that.
But it just truly is kind of fascinating how via the common denominator of anime, we're seeing more fit bros, more car bros and bike bros, weirdly enough. People getting really in the cars and like the anime raps. And then more gun bros. And you would think these two would not go together. Anime and guns would not go together.
They go together
together.
But
for years.
But my word is like flies and honey, just whack, and you cannot pull them apart now. To where you see like hardcore attack bros with that little curious little anime girl patch somewhere on their body just for the meme. And it's just like, how the hell did we get here? You know what I mean? Like,
it's all Japan, man. It's basically Japan investing in their culture. Like, culture is a weird thing. People don't think it's important. It's kind of like demographics. It's a glacial problem. It moves so slowly, you don't think it's an issue until it moves for or against you. Then you fucking notice it. So Japan investing so much of their culture in anime and guns, like, they love guns more than Americans do, man.
Well,
with airsoft, right? Exactly. So they fucking go crazy on fucking airsoft. And then it goes crazy into their art. Whereas like in Hollywood, it's impossible to get like a Hollywood movie where like the guns are not dicked up or the uniforms totally fucked up. Like Terminal List is like the only exception because, you know, Jack Carr was there every single episode to like make sure, right? But in general, anime gets guns and military stuff right way more than American.
You can
media
always
does,
tell
Mark.
a fucked up movie when the collar is velcroed up, or like, why is your put down your fucking lapels? Quit that. Like they always velcro that fucking thing.
I hate that. That's the most annoying thing,
I
dude. The
know.
fucking the
Like
whole
you're not wearing
Oh.
body armor. Unbutton your fucking collar, you shit. Like just quit that. And like,
But it's,
Like,
a
how-
20-year-old Hollywood dude. He doesn't know.
yeah, I know.
I mean, actually, I do have a few actors in the Hollywood area who occasionally come out. Oh, hook me up and so A-list actor, but he can't tell anyone he's in the guns just for his job. I'm like, lame. Yeah. What was it? One of our new clients, DJ Dallas. I just met him through Brent's local classes, like this Army guy. But he's super vocal, and he's an NFL player for the Seahawks. And that's a breath of fresh air. Because we've had like NBA, NFL dudes in the past, like who were into guns, but they just couldn't tell anyone. They were afraid of the blowback. Whereas DJ Dallas, he must be really good.
Well,
I don't know.
ain't
'Cause he doesn't
that
give a
some
shit.
shit? How like they're afraid of the blowback, like they can't be themselves. Like I try and drag folks
but
on here all the time.
He must be. DJ Dallas must be very talented because he doesn't give a fuck. He's like super vocal about his love of guns. What a king!
Well, like you say that, but there are guys who I try to drag on here to talk about D&D, and they won't do it because they're afraid of the blowback. There are people who on here who I know like guns and won't come on because they're afraid of the like the whole point of this podcast for folks to be themselves and to speak their own mind. But there are people who are too afraid to come on here and speak their own terms because they're afraid of the blowback. And it's just it's so odd to me how people are like, there are guys in Hollywood, look at, like, for example, I look at Chris Pratt and the amount of hate he gets. And there are more crisp rats out there who want to talk about guns, like, oh man, I love guns and military, and they just can't. And I find that is weird, but at the same time, that's how it's always been, I think. And, well, it's why you see a lot of smaller studios making movies. Like my dad is making movies, like, and he's an old special forces captain. Like he's making hardline military movies and producing them, and he has the armor and all that shit. But at the same time, I guess we're seeing a turn in the same way. You're seeing a turn away from Hollywood and more looking towards this freedom of expression, I suppose, especially with like anime.
Yeah, the
and all
growth
that.
in anime is definitely related to the decline in Hollywood.
Yeah,
Because you run out of places to get entertained, and the Japanese are based as fuck, and they don't give a shit.
well,
They'll never kowtow to the liberal fucking
another
bullshit.
big thing is
Oh.
that Sour and Roy, when have we all seen a Western morale patch for like a Western like a Western cartoon?
Like
Can't say I
Bugs
have.
Bunny or something.
Yeah, like you
Maybe Betty Boop.
you don't fucking see it.
20 years ago.
Like-
Like 10 years ago, maybe.
like
Elmer
I'll
Fudd
have
with
one.
spectacles.
well, like think about it. You don't see Western stuff for morale patches. It's literally almost always either nondescript or big 2D anime titties. And it's the funniest thing to me. But like YouTube,
Disney will sue you too. Disney will sue you. That's
All that
another
too.
reason.
Well, all fucking old pinup art with a cartoon Mickey Mouse you'd see. That's really about it.
yeah. But we're to an hour now. We'll do our last topic here. But like you all talk about how you,
It's already an hour. Holy
Yeah.
shit!
yeah,
Man, I feel like we're just warming up.
these fly by, don't they? They really do. But like you guys said, like, or I think it was Roy. You said I don't have the time to do shit anymore. How do you guys? Because I know Sour, you're contracting because you have a whole other thing going on. But like, how do y'all deal with the fact that when you first started here and you weren't doing much, you're like, man, I have time to watch anime and I can doodle and draw and yada yada. And now it's like I don't got time to shit and piss, let alone watch anime. How do y'all deal with that particular pressure for like creation and working and that kind of stuff? We'll start with Sour first because I think he'll be the shorter one because he's out contracting and he's got doing other stuff.
I'm sitting my ass right now, man. This shit fucking fell through.
Fell through.
My contract is. I had to. I'm doing fire contracting, like I told you earlier.
Mm.
So my entire shit doesn't happen until fucking either Washington or Oregon ignites, which is the first time in fucking like 10 years it's not on fire right now.
Mm.
So I'm
Sooner
actually
or
gone
later,
for
it's
55.
coming.
Yeah, I
It's
know. That's what I'm
coming.
sitting out here. Dude, I drove a Volvo I bought for $2,000 across the country, and I'm just sitting on my ass right now. So I have plenty of time. I've been watching anime. I've been drawing. I found out yesterday there's 2 more seasons of fucking Overlord I haven't seen.
Yeah.
But no, when I got back from fucking when the Kabul contract got canked, man, I started working at a museum doing security. I had time all day, but like I found myself busy trying to do stuff. But on the free time, I just trying to fucking organize between a relationship, the gym, and fucking drawing. It's hard, man. It's hard when you work a full job. The worst thing was I drove an hour and a half. I drove an hour to work each way. So just trying to prioritize what I want to do was a pain in the ass. Still doing it, but like I'm so happy. I love contracting because you do have those. You work hard, fucking for long term for a couple months, get a good paycheck, and you take time off. Then I can draw. I can fucking watch all my anime and stuff. The problem being that you don't draw for fucking 2 months. You're fucking basically working from the beginning again.
How are you, Roy?
For me, I basically structured my life around my love of guns. It's kind of sad, but I'm happy. Like I would say, I started the company when I was 25, and then at that point, I just discharged all social stuff. And from 25 to 30, it was like working 7 days a week, 10 to 12 hours a day. Like it was pretty intense. But if you want to live that lifestyle, if you want to have your own company and not have it go under, you got to do it. And then freaking with the media stuff starting in 2014 and Tumblr, I think Patreon really saved my ass a lot.
Oh, you think
so? Because with Trump, that created the Trump slump. We're like, oh, we're safe. Nobody has to buy anything guns ever again.
Yeah.
And
that
without Patreon, I would have gone under. That would have been it. So Patreon saved my ass, and I'm very thankful for all my supporters on Patreon. And it's basically my second job now. I got my fiance helping with photography, editing. I got 2 other models who also help with photo editing. And yeah, I work a ton. I love what I do, and I remember what it was like to be a corporate stooge working for Nokia, Siemens, or Microsoft, and how at the end of a 40-hour work week, life didn't taste so sweet anymore. Whereas now it's like I'll work 80 hours a week and life is fucking great. Yeah, I worked 14 hours. There's no complaints to what you do if you like it. But that whole saying about if you work a job you love, you'll never work a day in your life. That's kind of fucking bullshit, man. It's still work.
Yeah,
I totally agree, man.
Yeah, because suddenly it's no longer the joy of it. Like for me, it's seeing a beautiful with the gun doesn't really bring me an immense amount of joy anymore. Now it's like shit. I gotta do frequency separation and color grade and fix all this shit, and then I gotta turn this into prints. I gotta mail this out. I gotta get this up on Patreon. I gotta find. It's a work. It definitely takes away the joy of the original thing you liked a little bit, but that's why I loved guns. 11 out of 10. You drop 3 points, I'm down to 8. People got into guns, the gun industry, at 8 out of 10. They're at 5 now. They fucking don't even like guns anymore. They don't ever shoot guns for fun. So that's my warning to you. If you get into guns, you better really fucking love them. Be obsessed with them.
So I started using guns as a way to kind of an outlet for the current work I do. Used to be I would go shoot because I kind of wanted to. Now I shoot because I need to, because I basically I go out in the morning with a canteen of coffee and I shoot for an hour and just try and distress all the shit, because it doesn't matter what you're doing, when you're running your own gig, it's a lot of pressure on somebody because you don't want to fail, because failing fucking sucks. And for me, drawing was a way out from military stuff. I actually did it for free. Now I was like, okay, this is fun. But I did it for money. And I'm like, because now it's work, And then I started doing, short stories for drawing de-stress. And sure enough, that got popular. So now I'm doing both these things. I'm like, fuck. But at least I have, guns. I guess I'll go out and shoot and distress and pull the shit off my shoulders. But the one thing people are too afraid to talk about are the failures. Because, more.
Oh, yeah.
You Roy and Sour, you both run a business. You've both taken the gambit and thrown yourselves out into the ring to try and
we've
become
been around long
else.
enough to see the failures. We see the fucking founder suicides or this or that,
So
that's pretty common.
Yeah. So what are the failures you guys had in the climb? Because most folks think, you just climb up there and it's easy as fuck. Because no one really talks about the failures. We always hear about the success stories, and you see people you knew on /K suddenly, doing well. No one talks about the failures. So who wants to go first?
Oh, I've thought about this a lot. You go ahead, Sour.
No, I'm an idiot. I misread the entire last question. I want you to go first.
Oh, okay. Well, basically, you can't be afraid of failure. Like, you need to understand that it happens, and most of the time, it's failing forward. I would say my company's failed so many times, and it's by the grace of my customers or emergency action on my part that it didn't completely go under. But it's a learned skill in both ways, both the media and the retail side. God, retail's awful. Like, if you don't come into retail with like a shitload of money already, like, it is a gamble and it is terrible. So, and then I see the manufacturing side too. Like, so many companies come and go. It's like, remember the Summer of Love in 2020, like a year before that, I knew a ton of like night vision companies.
That hentai guy, thank you for following.
Armor companies that went under because nobody's buying freaking night vision armor in 2019. But if they had held on just one more year, well, any business is kind of like farming in that you just have to tend your field, get better, and then you ride the seasons. With the media side, it's learning how to improve myself, just stop worrying about what other people are doing. Don't try to copy them. Try to have your own unique capabilities and your own vision and attract people. I don't think anyone's tried to copy me, really. If they have, it's not good enough where I was like concerned about.
Copy, no.
Try.
I think like you and Commando Store and Fire Force all sit in the same line, but you all take care of your own little niche. So copying is not really a thing that happens yet. But like Sour, like what's one thing where it's still like the bitter taste in your mouth when you think about it? Like, because media have seen, like, if we were to count the amount of patch guys we've seen come and go, we use these are our toes, fingers, and our buddies' fingers, because doing the patch stuff, people would come in and just blitz right the fuck on out of there. Like, they would just immediately just go under.
It's like a fashion business.
It is, yes.
So many people misread patches. I think they saw people that were like selling patches and like, you have some every now and then a guy would brag about how much fucking money he made. Like PK
Patchworks.
Yeah, he's still in business, so you can't fucking shit on him. He's
me and you both knew.
Yeah, but no, do his credit, man. Fucking I mean, he's not the worst guy these days, but fucking he's survived, so he made good on his promise to fucking outlive a lot of the dudes.
Oh yeah, well he went into the lewd patch pretty hardcore, so
yeah,
more or less he was flooded by titties.
He has his fan base, so all power to him, man. Fucking like I said, we're on good terms. But like, yeah, he fucking was one of them to flaunt how much money he made. Like, check this out, I bought this, yada yada yada, and it drove so many motherfuckers to jump on that shit. And they wouldn't, bro. No one researches how much fucking patches cost. I still got dudes all the time hit me up like, "Hey man, I want to make a patch. Who can I see?" And it's like, dude, if Mutiny Patch is still around, dude, make one or two for yourself and fuck off.
Yeah, like
because these dudes.
They forget there's an upfront cost to these patches. And you're doing embroidered, you're doing woven, doing PVC. Like, people are like, "Oh, I'm gonna make a patch and I'll be famous and rich." And they're like, "Oh shit." Like,
it's sustainable for us because we're artists. I'm not paying a secondary fee to some guy to commission do commissions. I have my money and I know what I'm gonna spend it. I know prices have gone up and I'll buy my patches and whatnot, and there's been a bitter taste of a few things I've sat on for like years, and I'll restock for like I've done restocks for like one or two guys asking for something, and then I'll sit on that stock. I'm still sitting on stock for years. Yeah. I want to get back into it and make new stuff. It's not a huge deal. I mean, I spend the money, people enjoy it, so it's not a huge thing for me. But I've seen so many people come along, whip out some wild ass shit, and you saw all the time. Really, Weapons for Your Wife used to have an independent patch group. I don't know if it's still around or not, but you'd have so many dudes that make their stuff and sell it there with permission or whatever. But like, some of the weirdest shit people would make, and it's like a bad artist, fucking bad art. They'd sell something, and like everyone would hype them up, like, yeah, I'll buy it, and then no sale. So dude's out $500 bucks.
Yeah. So your main failure are just kind of certain patches that just did not sale.
I've made a few that just I think the one that hits me in the ass so much is the Falk Around Find Out patch.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't find a good in between because I just don't think it looks good. I want to redo it and revisit it, but there's a lot of patches I just look at and it's like, it looks like shit.
Yeah.
But I also got fucking I don't want to regret it. I think the fucking the Gaza Strip patch, my first one, one of my favorites. It plays my heart. But given the world is now, I've gotten more shit for that fucking patch existing than anything else. I got fucking death threat. No, not death. I one death threat, I guess, from the people that fucking I commissioned for that my store was hosted on. Fucking
Really?
Big Cartel had an employee send me from the fucking default address saying, I hope you die. I hope you burn to death. So it's like, okay, maybe I'll just remove this one from my fucking store.
Okie
People still want
dokie.
it. It's just, yeah, it's just hard to like, some of the older, all my patch designs are pretty old. I want to redo them. I need to get back into that stuff. I've been gone for so long. But like, it's hard to justify, three guys, one or two dudes, three guys. I ask me like, hey, I want this patch, and like, I can't order. You order 25 patches, it's gonna cost you way more than 100 patches.
Yeah,
it's
that's like
a weird game.
basically you want like just 20 patches, it'd be $200, and you're not getting that cost back.
More than that, it'd be like 500.
Well, yeah, but it depends on how big it is. Like,
Yeah.
my biggest regret that still haunts me is when Fire Force Ventures commissioned art. I was like, because I was nervous because it's Fire Force Ventures. Like, all right, so I did 2 roadie pictures for them, and I wasn't happy with them. And I was like, all right, I wanted them to say, I hate this, redo it. Like, fuck, fine. But I said, here's this. They went, oh, I love it. I was like, fuck, don't say that. Like, to this day, I have a slot for them where I'm going to go and redo their art for them. Because it's like, like I'll go to bed, close my eyes, and see that art, and I just go, and, like I just see it in my brain when I
feel
do
that
it.
so hard, man. Now that you say that, there's a few things I'm worried about. Like
I know, dude.
Roy, you said I did work for you, dude. I have no memory of what I did for you, so now I'm worried. Like, you have some art of mine sitting around that might be complete shit. Because there's been plenty of times where it's like you're off your game, you're drawing. It's like, okay, this looks all right. Here's a whip. I fucking love it, dude. Like, dudes will hype you up no matter what. And it's like,
yeah,
bro, please.
and that's what killed me, because he was so like, oh, I love this one. I'm like, bro, it's not good. I knew it wasn't good, but he said it was okay. I'm like, well, I was like, I can redo it. He goes, no, it's fine. I was like, let me redo it. No, it's fine, bro. Like, it still haunts me this day, and I still feel horrible because I wasn't happy with the art. And like I gotta draw Flash's thing for the book, but then like I have to go and just fix that shit and redraw it for them. Like, here's this for free. Please don't hate me.
Yeah, there was one for Senpai Fi when I was still one of the partners.
Yeah.
Before I quit the Gambit and I was depressed and fell the whole game. Fucking, I did this Bunny Girl for him, dude, and it's like I no matter how many times I redrew it, I could not make it any fucking better. But I hated it. I just thought it didn't look good. They loved it, but it's like it wasn't as good as I could do, but I was in the slump and I could not do any better.
Yeah.
And that killed me. To this day, I still think about that. Like, fuck, dude. I mean, that whole exchange, man. I dropped the fucking ball.
Yeah,
But it's
so I found it. It's Rosie the Roadie, and like
the road.
I see
That
it,
was you?
like I see it now. I'm like, God, I hate it. Like, I'm looking at it right now, I'm like, God, this fucking sucks. And like, I'm looking at it right now, and I feel my gut go, you did that to them. And I was like, I can fix it. Like, literally, I'm gonna go in and redraw that entire fucking thing because
That looks pretty good. I remember they tried to commission me for photos, and I was like, I can't find the girl you need. Like, we'd have to like pay somebody and
But yeah,
fly
like,
them out.
but like literally, I'm going to like when I draw Flash's picture, I'm gonna go in and redo Rosie the Roadie for free. So I feel less guilty, and I feel less guilty, and the nightmares will stop haunting me. And I'll like, hey, here's a product you should have had in the first place. I am so sorry. Can we still be friends? like I don't have a lot of regrets. I have a few, like this whole book thing, right? It was never supposed to be a book thing. It was supposed to be like audio dramas. And I thought, you know what? I'll put out the art, the book, and the and like the VA thing, and we'll see what sticks. And all 3 stuck. I was like, oh fuck! Now I'm locked in this room with this shit. And that because like I had no time to fix my past mistakes. And Rosie the Roadie is a mistake of all time that still haunts my dreams, and I have to fix this fucking thing. Like I pulled it up on the website. I'm like, good God! I look at it brings up all those bad memories again.
It's a blue collar that fucking ate it all.
Yeah, I know.
I'm looking at it right now.
I was just like, God, because like the art, I was like, here's this. He goes, oh my God, I love it. I'm like, don't say that. So if you ever buy a thing, it just like for an art, don't hype up your artist. If it sucks, just tell them it sucks.
Exactly. I can't tell you that enough, man. Fucking, I agree with you there. And so many people, tell me like, "Oh, it looks great, dude." And it's like I know I'm doing kind of subpar work, but it's like it's sometimes they have a deadline for you, and it's like, here you go. But like one of the things too, my buddy, an old Barton buddy of mine, that fucking he abandoned art to lift, but he always said, "You never see yourself as others see you," and that pertains to both games and fucking actually drawing. So like what you see is shit because we're hypercritical of ourselves. Might be good to someone else. I've had a few things I've looked at. I think this is shit, but look at it later on. It's like people love it.
Yeah, being hypercritical is a good thing as an artist because it'll keep you growing, keep you getting better.
Now,
because I remember some of my early photos were god awful. People loved it. Like, what the fuck?
How do you like this? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like
but, they gave me time and patience and give me time to grow and get better. Stop sucking.
Now, see, the one thing I can't stand is when a good artist says, "Oh, it's just a sketch." Like, come on now, no, don't do that. It's not a sketch. Like they'll draw like
RKGK, whatever the hell it is.
Like they'll draw an entire thing and color it. Like, oh, it's just a sketch. Like, you spent 4 hours on that. Shut up. All right,
dude, I fucking think it's wild when someone says, "I spent 4 hours on this," and it's like, dude, I'm spending on day 3 of this sketch.
Yeah, bringing it back to the patch business, you guys' stuff, I've definitely gotten fucked up on the patch business where I threw, he got fucked up on posters. Because like, look at this art of Steuven Coffee, and I'm going to get 1,000 of these printed. I'm going to sell them and be rich. Yeah, that was a lot of money.
And be rich.
Fucking flushed down the toilet. I remember I finally took the big pile of posters I made like 2012 to the dump this year. I remember throwing into the dump and being like, "You fucking idiot! You fucking..." As I'm like hauling this shit out there,
Well, it's a live and learn kind of thing too. Like me and my first Sika Billiet patches, I did those in the most back-ass way possible and spent like 2 times more than I should have on those. And like I have 3 left. And I'm like, I need to fix you. Like I think every business has like their growing pains, but the important part is that you
take the lesson, you learn.
Yeah, we're still here for one. Like sauerkraut here. I watch you every day, dude. Like what's sauerkraut gonna put out? Because I bought a few of your patches I have on my board here, but everyone has like their dips and their crests. It's how it is. And
I fell off pretty hard. I'm wanting to get back into it. I'm working on it. I gotta now that I have time to draw again, I'm inspired. So hopefully more stuff soon.
And then, of course, with Roy here, I mean, you are more or less one of the top 3, in my opinion. Like in my brain, there's Commando Store, there's Fire Force, and there's Weapon Outfitters. Now, those are the main 3. And there's if you're out there and you're one of the other ones, I'm sorry, but I just don't rate you that high, because in terms of like pushing the old, like not the old, but like our K culture, those are the top 3. It's Fire Force, Commando Store, and Weapon Outfitters. And
ironically, I don't think we go onto the K board, do we?
Well,
do they?
Well, they don't belong to, but like you're born from the K board. Like you, like basically a Commando-esque thing. Like going on your site, anyone who's been on /K can go, you're probably Commando, ain't you? Because you can see little tidbits here and there that kind of hint at the past. Like me and Sour, we're quite loud with it. Like Luke K bar, you're kind of like more of a subtle K. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I remember getting some DM from people. It's like, "Hey, do you ever post on 4chan K?" I'm like, not gonna even reply. This is a trap.
Of course I don't, officer. All right. Well, we're at an hour 18 minutes. So that's a little bit past our time. Do you guys have anything you want to say or announce while you're here, or want to push or put out to the world or anything like that?
Oh, I can't think of anything, to be honest. I mean, I just keep drawing. I'm trying to get back into it. That's really about it. Roy, if I drew something for you, let me know, because I'm scared.
Oh, actually, I got you confused with the Canadian military guy. I got you confused with Jarv on the bounce.
Jarv, okay, that makes sense. I swear I've never done a commission for you, man. I would have known by now.
I could literally hear Sour's like sweat beads going to the floor. Tip, 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 tip.
Well, there's way too many military anime artists, man. I confuse all.
Thank God, man. There used to be only like fucking 4 of us.
I know, right?
At least the Western. There are plenty fucking in Japan.
Oh yeah, well, all the GSDF boys. I would love to get one of them on here and have them fucking talk about how they. But it's hard to find a Japanese person on Twitter. Like I have one fan saying I have one fan.
They don't speak English.
Well, that
they're like
too.
American.
Yeah,
Games
like
English.
I have one confirmed Japanese fan. He's a fucking fisherman who reads my books while he's out on the fucking sea, and
Yes.
and like he'll put his shit through like a Google Translator and sends me an email. So he's pretty cool. But all right. So guys, thanks for coming on to this. It was pretty fun. I enjoyed it. Thanks for having the balls to come on here because, like I said, folks will say no because I don't pull punches. And I'll ask you odd questions here and there, but y'all came on. I appreciate it. It was a good talk.
I expected far odder, to be honest.
And yeah, if I could think of something to talk about, or if you guys have any subjects you want to talk about, let me know and I'll drag you back on here. We can chat about it. I like talking to folks. This is a way of me de-stressing from writing for 6 hours a day. You know what I mean? But all right, so chat, we'll see you Friday for the War Crime Boy game, and we will see you then. Sour, Roy, thank you, but it's time to say goodbye.
Thanks for having us. Bye.
Thanks for having me.